Hi everyone, Angelo here, and today is the Feast of the Baptism of Jesus. So today's reading overlaps a bit with one of the Gospels that we would have read a few weeks prior. We're still in the first chapter of Mark, and we have Jesus going to John to be baptized. And at the beginning of the story, we have John the Baptist, a very well respected prophet, saying, "Yes, I would have baptized you with water, but there's someone who's coming after me, much greater than I am, who will baptize you with the Holy Spirit." And then right after, we see Jesus coming on the scene. And then coming on to the end of the story, we have the voice from heaven, who we believe is God the Father. Now, in the Catholic tradition, we have a way of saying that the point of baptism is to cleanse all sin and to wipe away the stain of original sin. And there's often a question of, okay, if Christ was like us in all things except sin, if he was a sinless human, what was the point of him being baptized? And I mean, it's a valid question, huh? But I think what this story points to isn't so much that Christ needed to be cleansed of any sin, as the case might be, but rather Jesus, God, the divine, meets us humans where we are. In this case, it will be John and baptism, takes what we have and transforms it into the divine. And I think that's what kind of happens in baptism too. So we have this way of saying, I mean, we have many metaphors, right? Saying, baptism is this indelible mark, or like I would have said earlier, this cleansing of sin, this wiping away of original sin. But I think the way this story goes, at least from my understanding of it, what I get is that baptism is much more than that. And the nature of baptism, maybe initially first being human, is transformed into a divine nature. And more than that, baptism is an invitation into the divine life. And the reason I say that is because in this story we have mention of the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and the voice from heaven, God the Father, all in the same breath as baptism. There's this term we use in theology called the perichoresis, right? Meaning like this divine dance, this dance of the three persons. And I feel like baptism is an invitation into the divine dance. I mean, some people even say that humanity and even all creation is the fourth person of the Trinity. And I feel like through baptism, we are being invited into this loving dance. So, as much as we have all these different metaphors, when preparing the content for this video, I was like, okay, how do I experience baptism? What is baptism for me? Because before, I used to think of it as this one off event. But thankfully, I've had many brilliant people in my life. And I mean, one in particular I'm thinking of, Father Jerry Austin, who is a brilliant liturgist and theologian. And I mean, that man changed my perspective on baptism in such a radical way. And when I think of baptism now, I was brought back to earlier this week, where it was All Year's Night, or New Year's Eve, as some people might say, and I was with my family. And as it struck midnight, as I imagine most people will do, we went around hugging each and every person and saying, I wish you all the best, and, giving love and best wishes, right? But it's not like a small amount of people. This was like a good 25, 30 of us, even. And I feel like that's what baptism is for me. I mean, Caribbean people, right? We're very tactile, we're very huggy people. And I feel like if I had to bring a metaphor into the conversation to describe baptism, it would be that of a divine embrace. You know, those hugs that are so good, you never want them to end? Or you just feel like, God, I wish I could stay in this person's arms forever. I feel like that's what baptism is. God wraps us up in God's embrace Except this embrace never does let go. This embrace, we are held forever in this unspeakable, inexplicable love. I look at the second half of the story where as Jesus is coming up with the water, and I mean it's written kind of strange too, right? Because it says that he saw the heavens torn apart. And then right after that, descending on him is this dove, who we presume to be this graceful, gentle creature. And it makes me wonder if what we often have as our vision of heaven or as an ideal, whatever the case might be, through our baptism, then those illusions are shattered and we really come to know God and experience divinity for what it is, or who it is, as the case might be. And we have the voice from heaven saying, "You are my son, the beloved. My favor rests on you." And we would have heard about favor a significant amount in the Gospels leading up to Christmas just a few weeks ago. Well, Christmas was last week. So I feel like if we enter into this same baptism that Christ would have given to us, we then willingly allow ourselves to lean into that divine love. And it's not always easy. I mean, nothing here indicates that being able to let go and be vulnerable and be our complete whole selves with God, shed that ego. Nothing in the story here makes it seem like it'll be easy. But it does make it seem like it's very possible. And I feel like when that does happen, we will come to experience a love that we have never known. And then because we have experienced that love, we then can go out and help others to experience that love too. Especially if we believe if we believe we have this call to baptize others, and not in a proselytizing sense, not in a sense of trying to have the whole world be Christian. But no, rather than that, more so we draw from our source, God, ourselves being wrapped up in this divine embrace. We ourselves are now called to wrap others up in the divine embrace, to help others experience the love that we have come to know and experience. If they choose to embrace back, fine, and if not, fine. But we, as co-creators with God, we can allow ourselves to help God in God's own creative mission and spread that love, spread that joy, to continue making the hug even bigger and bigger to the point where it is just love all around. So, as we enter into 2024, I wish you all the best, and I hope and pray that we can all find the grace to continue this divine hug and to be able to lean in to the God who, that God self, is hugging us. Wish you all the best, and as always, thanks for watching. Thank you.